Hello and welcome to the Mount Rushmore podcast. My name is Jeff, and at the table with me are Richard.
Hello.
And Michael.
Howdy.
Richard and Michael, they debate, they discuss, they deliberate, and this week they are deliberating a topic that I chose, and that is Mount Rushmore of Summer as a kid. Now, this Thursday, today, is the first day of summer, so they are going to entertain me by sharing some memories that they may have of those youthful, wonderful, responsibility-less free halcyon days of summer.
Those seem like normal adjectives.
Those are normal
Yeah.
adjectives. The salad days.
Those are things that people say.
They're sure they are. Sure they are. So I think we all kind of intuit what this topic is about. It's about what it was like to have those 3 months where you didn't have much responsibility and got to goof around and do whatever you want to as a young person. And Michael is going to start.
My first choice is sleeping in.
Oh, okay.
Also on my list.
Good, because
Wow.
I know you're a big sleeper.
I like me to nap.
I love
like
that.
a
I
nap.
thought I'm going to hear about your summer inactivities is what you're going to tell me.
There is, maybe it's something that also kind of hits on the weekend for the average kid. But when summer comes along and you just have that knowledge that Monday I can sleep in as late as I want, at least that first week,
Yeah.
the first couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Where you don't have to get up at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock to get to school.
Uh-huh.
There's no greater feeling of freedom. It's like I can get up when I want. I can get up and have breakfast. I can have cereal. I can watch my cartoons in the morning. I don't have
Yeah.
to go off somewhere. I'm not hassled by mom or dad. It is such a great feeling of just sleeping.
Yeah.
And sleeping in, you're just so constrained by it.
Did you accomplish that? Because for the first couple weeks, my sleep cycle would always kick me out of bed at that same time anyhow.
I think what happens is like you probably wake up at your normal time, whatever that is.
Right.
But then there's that knowledge of like, I don't have to get up.
Yeah.
This is literally the best.
Yeah.
No one can hold me back until they get fed up with me and send me
Yeah.
off to summer camp. But
Yeah.
Right. So mine was kind of a two-parter. It's sleeping until noon / staying up until midnight.
Oh, okay.
Because that's the corollary behind this is really not only do you get to sleep in, but with my family, I didn't really have a solid bedtime to begin with.
wow,
I-
lawless over there.
It was
in the Manfredi
It
household.
was a wild country over there. But especially once the summer came, there was no I would stay up. I think we've talked about the fact that my dad worked like the swing shift.
Right.
So he didn't get home until after midnight. So summer was when I could, stay up until post midnight, wait for him to get home and watch Letterman or whatever sports thing I'd recorded for him that night. And if I stayed up till 1:32 in the morning, who cared? I could sleep until noon.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
So what time are we talking for you guys? Is this, say, second, third grade, or is this we're off into junior high, or is it, what are we talking?
I think it really varies. I mean, as a young kid, let's say if you're in elementary school, I bet you're sleeping in till 8, 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
I think still your natural tendency to get up and get out, plus the pressures of, like I mentioned earlier, eventually being shuttled off to summer camp, kind of kick in.
Yeah.
Like eventually, like you have a little bit of freedom, but then eventually 3 months is a long time to be off for your parents.
Mm-hmm.
And you still have parents and they still have their own responsibilities. And I think as you get older, it probably gets later.
Because they don't have to wake you up because they need to go do something. They can just let you sleep in.
Yeah.
Because you can stay home by yourself.
Right. Yeah. There's definitely that time period of like you can sleep in for a while because you can, but not that long.
Yeah. Well, I find
And then once you get old enough to be home alone, that's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, things go crazy at that point.
Yeah.
You brought up, Richard, an interesting aspect of the culture that I was drawn to was late night culture in terms of entertainment.
Sure.
So that's the time when I could stay up late and I started to kind of discover, oh yeah, these are my tribes, or this is my art.
People.
This
right.
is my people, these late night guys.
I remember being, 4th, 5th, 6th grade, and I would record Letterman and then watch it when I would get home from school the next day.
Uh-huh.
But over the summer, I didn't have to do that. I could actually stay up till 12:30 and watch it.
Yeah.
And it felt different.
Yeah.
Even though it was, I was on the West Coast. I was watching it pre-recorded anyway. I mean, everyone was. It's not like I was watching it live or anything when I was watching it at 12:30, but it just felt like
because the world is shut off.
Right, and it felt like culturally like I'm watching it at the same time that some other people here in the West Coast are watching it. We're all part of the secret tribe that's staying up late. Like it's really like this thing that, we're getting over on somebody.
That's an interesting aspect of what is lost with time shifting. And then in a recent interview with Conan O'Brien, he was talking about moving his show. Of course, his show was the Late Late Show, and then he got to be the Tonight Show, and then now he's on TBS just called Conan, and he says he's shifting from an hour to half an hour. And his commentary, when asked why, was if you examine the history of late night, any time past 10 was a vast wasteland that nobody cared what you did. In fact, they would rather you did it a long time. Hey, fill an hour, fill 90 minutes, and do whatever the F you want. I don't care if you go out in the audience, talk to the audience.
Right.
If you drop stuff off a tower to see if it smashes. I don't care if you do Stump the Band. It was this irreverent weirdos club that you got to be in for an hour. But it doesn't feel that way when you're watching it and Price is Right is on the channel
right
next to it.
Right, and it doesn't, and it's not like that anymore. I mean, we kind of, in that interview, I know he mentioned that it's sort of gone to this format now where it's an hour long. Every show is an hour long, and it's going to be a monologue, then a skit, then your main guest for 2 segments, then maybe another skit, and then it's very formulaic. For me, sleeping in. I grew up in a place where it was really fucking hot in the summer. It was 100 degrees or more most of the summer. And it would get hot early in the day.
Well, the United Arab Emirates.
Right. I grew up on the sun. Now, growing up near Fresno. And so you would wake up at like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. It's already like, 85 degrees.
Sure.
You just want to go back to sleep, man. You don't want to go out and do it. Even though it's going to get hotter, it's like your brain is just like it can't adjust to the heat. It's just like screws it up somehow.
You're not going to get up and run 5 miles.
Literally not, yep.
Michael, what's your second choice?
My second choice, and I kind of mentioned it earlier, it's summer camp.
Oh, wow.
I never went, so you'll have to educate me on this.
I went to a number of summer camps, and I think that they start, you mentioned it earlier, Jeff. 3 months is a long time. And I'm sure for parents, one, when your kid is young enough, you need someone to act as like a de facto school. They're basically, you need to get them to another daycare because I still got to go to work.
Yeah.
I still have to be at work 8 hours a day. I was sent to a number of different summer camps. The first one when I was really young was just at our Studio City Park. And you just got like a little yellow T-shirt, and you were there for 6 hours or whatever. You're dropped off at 10. You did art classes and ran around and played basketball. Did whatever. Brought back home just to eat up some time.
Yeah.
Eventually, I went to 3 different big summer camps with like my 3 best friends. The first one was this place called Cali Camp with my friend Joshua Burke, and this was a fucking rich kids summer camp. I do not know how my parents afforded it. I went up and looked up prices.
These were the snobs, not the slobs.
Yeah, this is like in like Malibu Hills, Malibu Canyon.
There's a thing called scholarships, Michael, and
I went up and looked how much the prices are now, and I can't imagine. I can't imagine this is what it was comparable to back in the early 80s.
Yeah.
But right now, classic camp per day, $165
per day.
Per day.
Well,
or $825 a week, which is the exact same price, and that's how you know it's like a rich kids camp. Because it equals out to this. Yeah. There's no discount. You just pay for a day or you pay for a week.
Did they have you doing activities like washing the dishes? Michael, today you're going to learn about sweeping.
I think I only went for like a week. But like it was one of those things where you got on a bus and they sang all these songs and da-da-da, and you go and you do archery and it's like... It was like
shoot a human. That's the cool thing about this
game. You get to eat them. Eventually I started going to... a couple of summers I went to like a sleepaway camp for like a few days, 4 or 5 days or a week. I don't even, I don't remember how long it was.
Yeah.
I went to one through my Unitarian church with my friend Clark Gilly, which was great. This place called the Benneville Pines. And my main memory was that we had to do a skit. Like in front of everyone. And we just stood up there, and it was me and him. And we did this thing where we said, yo, 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 de Benneville raps. And that was it. That was all the effort that we put into there.
Wow.
That's all that was required. You just had to do something.
Uh-huh.
And then I went to a third one when I was like a year older, and I was like early teens.
Yeah.
And I felt so out of place with all these people that are just like this budgeting sexuality.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was very much like,
Closeted.
I'm not ready for any
Yeah.
of this commingling of genders.
Skinny dipping,
And
I'll wear my shirt.
And I'm there for like a week, and it was just like, this is so uncomfortable, and I couldn't wait to get home.
Oh, my God.
But summer camps are these weird things where some people are real big camp kids, and
Yeah.
they love to go every summer, and they love to get away for a week or however long they're gone and sleep over and do the whole, getting bit by mosquitoes or putting on all, like, it was just like, but for me, partially it was like, this is so horrible.
Yeah.
I imagine it's like that for a lot of kids too, that are just sent away and they're just like, I want to be inside and I want to read my comic books.
I had basically the ghetto camp, the day camp thing where it was through the YMCA.
Mm-hmm.
And so unlike $165 per week, it was probably $1.65 per week. Sure. And you got a bologna sandwich, and you got poison oak, and you got the camp experience, but it was all.
Did you get bullied? Those are just the counselors?
I don't think I got noticed that much. I think I don't even remember. I think we made God's Eyes, and we might have done archery, but it was pretty much camp at the picnic pavilion in the local park. It wasn't that far off into the woods or anything like that. And the second time I went to camp was, I don't know if I told you guys that I was for a few years a member of the Campfire Girls.
Oh.
Yeah. I was so attracted to this girl.
I love this.
And I kind of, she
Jeff
was,
Chat.
I was in one fourth grade and she was in the other fourth grade that we had in our school. And it wasn't really any way for me to see her except for joining her youth organization, which happened to be very forward thinking. And that year they started to accept boys into their roster.
Were you the only boy?
I was the only boy. And all the like the little badges and patches and things still said Campfire Girls on them. They had not re-embroidered any of the things yet. So I actually loved it because I was not a very sports related kid. I was not a bruiser, tough kid, macho, hanging around with girls and braiding their hair and like talking about horses and stuff like that. That was pretty awesome. But then we had to raise money. They were talking about Campfire Girls Camp, and it was like for 1 week in the Central Missouri location. And I swear I saw this girl write down her name for camp. So I wrote down my name. I was going to go to camp. And I had to raise money by going door to door and selling candy in my Campfire Girls costume. And if you think people are annoyed by kids selling candy, they're really annoyed by a kid in a girl's costume selling candy. So,
in Kansas.
In Kansas. There was a lot of clueless looks. And I raised all that money, went to Campfire Girls Camp. I was the only boy at Campfire Girls Camp. The only boy there was the boys' cabin, was me. And all the other girls had no fucking idea why I was there. And that girl who I liked did not go to camp. She must have
not raised enough
money or something like that.
Or saw it and found out that you were going.
You found out the freak was going. So
wow,
it was horrible. It was horrible.
How did you? That's an incredible story.
It was ridiculous.
More incredible. How did you never go to one camp, Richard?
Yeah,
because my mom didn't work, so she didn't have to go to a camp. I did for a couple years go to Vacation Bible Study, but it was just at the Lutheran church or whatever down the street.
Yeah.
Not that I was religious or anyone in my family was religious, and my friends and I mainly spent most of the time writing dirty things inside the Bibles.
Well,
nice.
God.
I went to a Unitarian church every Sunday for a number of years and went to like Sunday school. And me and my friend Clark would just play with G.I. Joes and He-Man and roll down the hill and not really pay attention. It was a place for my parents to drop us off so they could go to the gym and work out.
Yeah.
Literally. Like,
wow.
It was Sunday at 10. We were dropped off. We were picked up at noon. They got a 2-hour
workout session.
And we go to McDonald's or something.
No, my mom, like I said, my mom didn't work, so she was home the whole time, so I didn't have to.
Okay, what's your second, Richard?
And this also plays into it. The second one, by the way, I grew up in a small town, so I got to basically, when I would finally roll out of bed around noon, I would just get on my bike, and I'd just start riding my bike over to my friends' places.
Oh, okay.
Until I find a friend who wasn't doing anything either, or I'd find out where my friends were, and hang out the rest of the day. And so that's my second one, is riding my bike to my friend's house.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in a town that at the time was probably about 7,000 people. And this still blows my wife, Sarah, away every time I talk about this. Or even when I got older, into high school, when I could drive, or even into college, when I'd come back and visit for the summer, I wouldn't pick up the phone and like start calling people and say, hey, what are you guys doing tonight? Or what are you doing today? Can we want to go hang out? I would just get in my car and just go drive from people's houses to people's houses.
Yeah. And
just knock on doors. But when I was younger, it was the same thing. It was just riding your bike. I never called my friends to see what they were doing.
Is Tony in? Can Tony come out and play?
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, I wouldn't call. No one would call and say, hey, what are you doing? Are you around? Hey, is so-and-so home? No, you just get on your bike because it was a 10-minute bike ride.
Yeah.
And you go over to Corey's house. And, Corey's not here. Oh, he's over at Chris's. Okay, that's the other side of town. Another 10 minutes right over there. Or they already took off. They went down to the park. Okay, great. And it would just... Now, maybe they were just hiding from me. This is also possible.
But no, they're at Campfire Girls Camp.
What?
Nobody. Missouri.
No boys go to Campfire Girls Camp.
No self-respecting
That's
boy.
ridiculous. Eventually, everyone would like just kind of catch up to each other. And it was a small enough town that this is just what you did. And this is not something that my kids will ever have the luxury of doing, which kind of bums me out because I live in Los Angeles and her friends live, miles apart from each other. She goes to a charter school. So it's not like they're even really, there's a couple of kids who are within sort of walking distance or close to her.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to let her go ride her bike around Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to get her killed?
Yeah.
No way. And so it's like, if she wants to go do something over the summer, it has to be like we're going to get a play date scheduled. And even now that she's going in 6th grade, it's like, well, let's call up and let's see if we can get a time that we can make it work out and I can drop you off, I never had to deal with any of that. It was literally just wake up. Okay, Mom, I'll see you. I'll be home before dinner. And I would just go and I'd be gone the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And everyone else would be gone for the rest of the day, or we'd go over to somebody's house and play Sega, or we'd literally just play basketball all day.
Maybe your mom did have a job and you were just
unaware of it.
Out and about, just riding around.
Was the phone the instrument of the adults? Like for me, like if you called somebody's house, their parents were just going to answer it anyway. So
That's
I might
true.
as well just go right over there.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. And
it wasn't that cutesy sort of like, Cosby Show.
Yeah.
Hello, Huxtable House. This is Rudy speaking. How may I help you?
Yeah.
It was always like, hello, is your dad around? No, click.
I also like,
and then you're just like, I don't care. He was asking for my dad.
You wouldn't want to talk to the adult either because the conversation would be, yeah, is Tim there? Oh, he is? Cool. I'm going to come over. We're going to get him some shit. We're going to put bottle rockets on the cat. Be right there.
Right. We're going to go on the roof and throw shingles at each other, which is something we did one time, and then I cut the hell out of my foot.
Okay, so it looks like we are at a halftime, and this is the moment where we implore you to go to the places where you find our podcast. If you found it on Stitcher, go there. iTunes, go there. And please rate and review the podcast, review episodes. We'd appreciate your feedback. We could also ask you to help podcasting in general by supporting our fellow podcasters who are out there, and this is a promotion for one of them.
Ladies, we all know the best part of the day is when you finally get home and get rid of the one thing you've been dreaming of ditching for hours, your bra. If you're like me, sometimes you don't even make it to the front door. Hi, I'm Erin Whitehead, host of the Braless podcast, where once a week I kick back, relax, and have fun conversations with different guests about all kinds of topics. You can find us on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. Join me on the Braless podcast, Unhooked and Unleashed.
And screw those guys. I don't care if you support them or not. I want you to support us. And I want you to do that by going to the Facebook page, to the Twitter page, going to Instagram, and interacting with us by liking the posts and by suggesting future episode topics. We'd love to find out the kind of things you want us to talk about. We may ignore them completely, or we may invite you to be a guest on our show. Who knows what's going to happen? Another thing you can do is support us by supporting Audible, going to www.audible.com/trial. I forget what the URL is. Go to audibletrial/Rushmore and
The glazed looks that Richard and I are giving
Okay,
Jeff
I'll read.
right
I'll
now.
read the thing. Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day free trial to give you the opportunity to check out the service. You could go to audibletrial.com/Rushmore and look around for a book that you like. You might like, if you like summer, you might like One Summer, an uplifting feel-good summer romance by Jenny Hale and Helene Maxsoud. That's an Audible audiobook that you can download and listen to, or you can read on all of the devices. I'm not going to name the devices because they pretty much work on all the devices. And you can go between reading and listening. And if you don't think Audible is for you, if you don't like it after the 30-day trial, you get to keep the book. So, hey, there's no harm, no foul, as Vin Diesel probably says. So, to download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/Rushmore. I'll repeat it, audibletrial.com/Rushmore.
You know what is a great summer book to read? It's a book by Michael Chabon called Summerland.
Oh.
Which is a wonderful book about kind of like the land of fairy, but also baseball.
Okay.
It is fabulous. Like I read it a bunch of years ago, and it's just like a delightful book that's kind of aimed at like kind of someone they're like early teens to even young adult, a little bit older, and it's just a really great book about like these people that play, like this kid that plays baseball, but then kind of travels around with this traveling baseball team and goes to all these different, like, the land of fairy, but you have to play by their rules because you're on their diamond. Oh. And so, like, some things don't really make sense, but it was a really delightful book. Check that one out.
That sounds cool.
Speaking of summer.
That sounds cool. He sure takes, like, these popular cultural topics and then gives us another look at them.
Yeah.
Okay, Michael, what's your third?
My third one is swimming.
All right.
Non-stop swimming. I was lucky enough to live across the street from a couple really good friends. My friend Josh, who I went to summer camp with, and my friend Eric. Both of them had huge pools. I mean, I have no idea if they were huge pools, but as a kid, every pool is gigantic.
A huge pool, yeah.
I didn't learn to swim until I was a lot older, like close to 10.
Oh.
And Josh Burke nearly drowned me in his pool when I was like 6 or 7 or 8, something like that. Like he held me under the water.
Is that where you got the brain damage?
So my next pick is swimming, just nonstop swimming. Like it's funny. My son Felix is 1, and I see him kind of doing that thing where he's cruising around the couch, where he's just like holding on to the couch, and moves to like the coffee table, just cruises around. I did that like at 7 or 8 years old, cruising around the pool. Yeah. Never actually swimming, just like going around.
You and I are the same. I didn't learn how to swim until I was like 10 or 11.
No, are you talking about like going in the deep end? Swimming?
No, like actually knowing how to swim.
Oh, wow.
I didn't learn and it was this very embarrassing thing to learn to swim at 10 or 11 or whatever it was.
Because you were the dork ass with the water wings.
You were the kid that, like, had to learn how to lie on a boogie board and kick your feet and hold on to the edge and kick and whatever and learn how to swim. And you eventually had that big day where you jumped off the diving board in and paddle out and learn to stay underwater and not get freaked out. But the moment you do learn how to swim, it is the most liberating thing in the world. You're just like, holy shit, I can fucking swim. I can go underwater. I can dive down deep. I can get up. I can jump off a thing. I can swim. And I have 2 friends across the street, and I can just go over and I can just swim all day. And it's just so,
That's awesome.
You're so ecstatic about just the idea. Like, I bet I could jump into this pool and swim all the way underwater to the other side.
Yeah.
Without coming up for breath. How far back could I get the other way? And like, it was, swimming was such a weird, liberating thing, especially for someone that, like Richard, when you're so old and you learn how to swim that late, you feel like it's such a weird, it was such a
It's
weird
an awakening.
Right, yeah. No, I learned more by just being teased so much that I eventually just kind of jumped in the water and decided I'm not getting teased anymore about this.
Yeah.
I didn't go to like a swim lessons or anything. I did have, one of my sisters did live in an apartment that had a swimming pool. So at some point I just sort of like bunkered down and was like, I'm either going to drown or I'm going to learn how to do this because I am tired of getting crap about this. And yeah, I had friends that would think it would be funny like to throw me in the water and I can't swim. And you actually think this is how I die.
My mom never learned how to swim. I don't know if my mom knows how to swim now. And she was the one that pulled me out when my friend Josh had like pushed me under. Like, she was across the street at our house and we were like watched by like their housekeeper, their au pair or something. And she got a call that like, Michael's not like, literally. I was like, yeah, it was like she had to pull me out of the water or whatever.
Wow.
Holy crap.
So what happened to you? Did you have an impact in your head, or you just were underwater and you didn't know how to get out?
Did you take in water and you just couldn't?
Probably. I mean, who knows? But my friend was just like holding me down.
Oh, wow.
I don't think he was trying to kill me. I think he was just.
You don't think?
Well, it's just, horseplay or whatever. Yeah. But it's just like one of those things where, that I think that probably was the awakening of like, oh, you need to learn how to swim if you're going to hang out with this kid that tried to drown you.
Cool, Richard. What do you got?
All right. So my next one is related to that. It is the slip and slide.
Oh, wow.
And
that's fun.
Because we did not have a pool, because we was poor people. But we did have a slip and slide. And that's something that you only do as a kid.
Yeah.
If I was talking about this with Sarah, my wife, earlier today.
And if you're a drunken adult reliving your childhood through kickball, you eventually get into like drunken slip and slide.
And you probably break your leg or separate your shoulder or something stupid.
Because that's a GoPro commercial or something.
Yeah.
They have slip and slide.
If I tried to slip and slide today, it would be slip and slide and break my leg in 3 places. That's exactly what would happen.
I'll let Emily tell this story like on Twitter or something, but she had a friend that did slip and slide, but they set up the slip and slide on like gravel rocks.
Oh, no.
Oh.
And she was very drunk. Not Emily, her friend in like college. Everyone, check out our Twitter to find out the story that I'll make Emily tell.
Is it a good one?
Well, when you end up black and blue and not knowing, like the next day.
How you got black and blue? Ooh, no good.
Yeah. Anyway, as a kid, it's a lot less black and blue.
Yeah, it's because you bounce. You're a kid. You have no like.
You're made out of Stretch Armstrong.
And it's set up on grass like normal.
Like regular people. My friend, my best friend growing up, Corey Reeve, his family, his dad managed to get a hold of like this giant sheet of like tarp, like clear plastic tarp.
Is this redneck slip and slide?
Yes. And he basically did hit the whole lawn. He just covered it in this tarp, and we just got like a sprinklers and just sprinkled water it down. And you could slip and slide down the whole backyard. And we played slip and slide wiffle ball.
Oh, wow.
Where you'd hit the ball, and then you would slide from halfway down the line into the base.
Yeah, that's fun.
Until you realize that the water only stays for so long, and then you hit like that dry patch.
Yeah.
and there's your
Shaving.
skin that's left laying like you've been filleted, basically.
You lose your eye on a grommet.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
See, we even had the more redneck version of that. We had, at one point when I was growing up, we had moved the garage. We had torn it down and moved it from like basically our backyard, like one side of it to another side of it. And so where the garage had been was just a big patch of dirt, a big garage-sized patch of dirt. And one year my dad decided he would just water the hell out of it, and that'd be a mud bog that my friends and I could play in. I was like 8 or 9 or something like that. And
The mud bog.
And if you're like 8 and you get to play in a mud bog,
Let's go to Knott's Berry Farm. I got a better idea. Kids today, they'll never know the joy.
oh my God, it was so much fun. You could play we'd play mud football. We'd get an inner tube and you could just slide on that thing and bounce on it and go and splat in the mud. It was so much fun.
How deep was the mud bog?
It was
we
dirt.
lost some kids.
Yeah.
Never saw
Tony's not coming back. I tried to ride over to his place. Wait, he's not coming back.
The bog takes what the bog wants.
I do like that there is there's still a commercial version of that. It's like, slip and slide. Everyone, it's like the Kleenex. It's the brand name for a plastic tarp that you put down. I distinctly remember the Crocodile Mile commercials.
Oh yeah,
Trying to sell
Whoa,
that.
never heard of this.
So it was a big plastic. It's basically slip and slide.
Hello, Paul Hogan here.
We watched Crocodile Dundee 2 nights ago on Friday.
How was it?
With Emily and her mom. Oh, it was incredible. This made me come up with a topic, which we were sitting there and I was trying to figure out like the language of the topic, which was Mount Rushmore of movies based on actors specifically.
Oh, okay.
Like it's like the Paul Hogan is this guy,
Yeah.
and this movie could not have been made without this. I can't figure out.
like an actor's persona, based on an actor's persona.
Yeah, it's like Jack Black and whatever
Yeah.
Jack Black is. It's like
Yahoo Serious and
there's
Young
something.
Einstein.
Yeah, there's something I haven't quite figured out. But anyway, so it's like a sheet of,
Crocodile Mile.
yeah, it's like a sheet of like plastic that you water down, and at the end of the sheet is like an inflatable bump, and there is a crocodile mouth like plastic thing over it. So you run and you slide down this thing and you hit this inflatable bump.
Yeah.
And you fly through the air, through the crocodile's mouth, into like a little pool of like water and like an inflatable. So it's like this. It was a whole. I've never done it. I've never had any friends that had it.
No, not at all.
But on TV, it looked incredible. And like the crocodile talked to you. We'll try to find the commercial.
It's pretty amazing.
Slip and slide is such a. It's such a.
And then there's by the way, this is not really related to this, but kind of is. It's aquatic. The friend that had the above ground pool. Do you have any friends that had the above ground pool?
I didn't. Emily has in Indiana where my wife grew up. Everyone had it. Like not everyone, but the people that had a pool had an above ground pool.
It's very much an Indiana, Kansas,
Yeah.
Central California sort of thing.
Yeah, no.
Where it would just kill the lawn that was underneath it, and the water would be like kind of semi-fetid at some point because there's no like filtration really happening. It's just
often a squirrel or a raccoon or something.
dead.
Possum.
Dead in there. Yeah.
I also feel like the above ground pool, you could also cut yourself on a stainless steel seam.
Sure.
That
yeah.
was there, or
a staple or something.
Yeah,
that would
staple
be
and
sticking
nail.
out.
Yeah. Okay. Your last one is what, Michael?
Mine is the end of summer as a kid, and that is the summer job.
Oh.
And there is a point when you realize you can't just exist hanging out for 3 months. You have expenses. You've grown past the point where you are getting an allowance.
Yeah.
And you have to have some sort of thing to fill your time because you have other things to do. You have like nights. You have summer nights suddenly.
Yeah.
Like once you get like at the end of summer as a kid, you have summer as like a teenager, and you have summer as like, I can't just sit around doing nothing and making $5 a week for chores of like taking out the trash, just not cutting it or whatever. Yeah. My first summer job was working at the 1994 World Cup at the Pasadena Rose Bowl. when I was like 16 years old, and I was standing out in the sun trying to sell hot dogs and hamburgers and operate the cash register and sell sodas, and eventually getting not paid for a lot of that
Oh,
work.
wow.
Did you work on commission?
Whatever the company that I signed up for with me and a few of my friends, they just
They
didn't.
shafted you.
They just didn't. They just took off. And it lets you know that soccer and FIFA has always been corrupt. And it is corrupt on every level. We literally stood out, like I stood outside in the suns and got blisters on my ears. It was so hot and so unprotected, and they didn't care. You're just standing out in these whatever. And like, I remember that was my first thought of I'd babysat before, but this was my first experience of working for a company or working for the man.
And you
you're
got
16,
screwed over.
And we got screwed over. I also got ditched by my friends who, like, I had to take the money to the counter area at some point, and they just took off, and I was just ditched at the Rose Bowl, and I had to, like, call my mom
God.
to come pick me up, like, an hour, 2 hours later.
So I'm seeing a pattern here, Jeff. His friends have tried to drown him.
Yeah.
They stranded him at the Rose Bowl. What is
I was
going
also
on with your friends?
I was also voted most popular. And then eventually, like, I got like a summer job that turned into like just a weekend job, but it had its like, I don't know, its roots in the summer when I was working for a place called Suntans to Go
Oh, yeah.
/ Coffee to Go. When I was working at like the suntan parlor that my mom
Yeah.
used to go to. My mom, ex-bodybuilder. And
This is why she can't swim, by the way. Too much muscle mass.
right. She was too dense. She sunk just right down. But it's like that first summer job is just like, you know, it's over. You know, your summer is no longer just only sleeping in and only this lack of responsibility. You at some point have to go earn some money because you want to try to go out at night or buy comic books or rollerblade down to 31 flavors and get a pint of gold medal ribbon and rent some, I don't know, anime videos. And then you're also going to get some comic books and then spend your nights doing that. So, I mean, I'm just throwing out as an example, not as something that I very specifically did.
Right.
Yeah, no,
You know?
it's just an example.
Yeah. Not my
generic.
lonely kind of adolescence, teenagedom of just like kind of hanging out alone playing, you know, Yoshi's Island.
Oh, my God. I'm so sad. There's so much melancholy
But I had a
in
job
there.
at least,
Yeah.
I guess.
I didn't have a job until summer job till college, so I didn't really have that same. And it was because I had so much. My mom actually told me you do so much during the school year. You have so many damned extracurricular activities. She actually was like, I kind of want you to have like the summer off because I did
Who's
sports.
Who's going to tend the bog?
Yeah. Bog ain't gonna water itself.
You're a bog watcher. Your daddy was a bog watcher.
His daddy was a bog watcher. So yeah, she was like, you know, I was editor of the school newspaper. I did jazz band, regular band, and I did sports. And she was just like, dude, just take the summer off.
That we are just like nerds cut from the same cloth on different sides of the cloth. Like it
Yeah.
was just like the entire nerd tapestry was
Right.
like rolled out. It's on this side is like comic books, anime, rollerblading, Star Wars, The
Yeah.
Simpsons. On the other side is
Simpsons,
jazz
and
Jazz
jazz
band.
band.
School newspaper.
then it's like Simpsons is like the one like where the Venn
It's right in the
diagram
center.
kind of overlaps.
No summer job ever.
Not till college.
Okay. What's your final choice?
All right, so my final choice is going to the fair.
Oh.
I'm sure Jeff.
Wearing your bonnet and your dress.
Well, you know, we had the best mud competition that we had to enter every year, so we had to bring our finest mud that we had to raise for the 4-H club.
Tastes kind of silty.
Got a little bit of mineral in it.
Red ribbon.
The fair feels like this is something that has always been in your blood.
What,
And
the
I
fair?
don't mean it just in terms of like,
Literally
hey,
in the blood.
like in terms of like this is the reason why you might have had a quadruple bypass,
Right.
a heart attack,
Right.
because of all the fair food that you have eaten.
Well,
over the years.
we discussed how many of the fast food monstrosities from last week that I actually wound up eating.
I'm concerned.
About the fair?
Well,
The fair's great.
I think that this fair lifestyle might have impacted you
I think it's
and
my.
resulted in.
I think it's my.
Do you have a baboon heart now? I don't know how this works.
I do have one. It's not the one I'm using. I just have one just as a general, more like a totem as anything else.
Was
You have had-
which fair?
It was the Fresno County Fair.
Okay.
So it was the county fair.
Yeah.
And as a kid, it wasn't about eating crap food. I ate crap food every day. I didn't need to go to the fair to do that. Again, I had a mom.
Amateurs.
I had a mom that fed me bacon sandwiches every morning for breakfast. I didn't need to go to the fair to eat their crap.
My friend Josh Burke that almost drowned me, and that I went to the super expensive summer camp with. Also, I went with his family to the LA County Fair once, and they forgot about me.
Oh no!
It's funny that this podcast brings this stuff up and brings these memories up. Like I remember like being around like the petting zoo at some point and looking around and no one was there and I couldn't find them for like half an hour and I don't know how I found them, but I'm here now recording this podcast. But at some point I was ditched at the county fair.
And also at the Rose Bowl. Let's not forget about that. No, going to the fair was, I remember being as a kid. That was, we talked about a little bit this with the mall episode that we did a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. But for me, I remember the fair being one of the first places where it was like you got to go with your friends, and like like my parents would take me and my friends, and they would just drop us off with like $20, and say, "Okay, we're going to meet you back at the Ferris wheel in 4 hours," and they would go do whatever they were going to go do, and we would go do kid shit. And so I remember that being 10 or 11. That's one of the first times, like, you got to go do something just, like, with your friends, like, at an event. Mm-hmm. Go out and do something that was, like, a super fun, like, activity on your own.
Yeah.
And you got to be out in the wild, basically.
There's a lot of freedom in your choices, like this and...
riding my bike.
Riding your bike wherever and sleeping in and staying up late. Like, there's a lot of, like...
Hey, that's Jeff's job to psychoanalyze me, okay?
Well,
I wasn't even going to do it.
Jeff is over, but like it's interesting to see like the things that you pick up on as like your summer is like this freedom.
Yeah,
I think that's it for a lot of kids too, right? It's the opportunity to get to just not be, like you said earlier, constrained. Yeah, because you're constrained at school all the time. But I don't know. I love the fair. I love doing the crappy rides that are probably going to give you a concussion.
Yeah.
Like all the really bad, like zippers and that are really shoddily constructed, and the guy running it looks like he's probably falling asleep.
Yeah.
While he's running it.
He slept under the ride last night, and he woke up and ate a corn dog, and then drank a fifth of whiskey, and now
how ubiquitous are those carnies? Like those guys all look sketchy. Jeff, were you ever a carny?
I was at Carney at the Renaissance Festival one summer.
Oh, that's like leading around a donkey.
Yeah.
That's holding the reins on a donkey, just walking in a circle slightly faster than usual.
We had a giant swing that you would pull, and it would it would swing the person up in the air. And
was it ye old giant swing?
Yeah, ye old giant swing. The royal ye old giant swing. And actually, I think it was on my watch. Somebody fell off, I think. So, but the taste of freedom that you have in this contained area, like a theme park. It's the fair, and it's sawdust, and it's dirt, and it's bad food, and it's
the carnival. Like I love the carnival, the games.
Yeah,
I could spend $100 playing those carnival games
for a $1 stuffed animal.
Yeah,
no problem. The one that I'm really good at is the horse racing one, where you've got like the billiard ball, and then they've got like the little contraption that's got the holes.
Oh,
and you ever seen this one? It's like the rollerball,
like skee ball.
It's kind of and then there's like at the very top there's like one hole, and it's like three, and like your little horse goes up 3. Mm-hmm. Below that's 2, and below that's 1. I've got like a technique for this.
Oh, okay.
And I say I'm about 50-50 to win that thing anytime I sit down.
Wow.
Anything else I could beat, I'm just absolute.
Yeah,
garbage out.
Step right up, not you, sir. Step right up.
Nobody, you're banned. You're banned. You're banned.
You can win anything between the comb and the pencil sharpener.
This shelf here, the spider ring.
It's anything. Right in this section between here and here.
I do have 2 very specific memories of getting screwed over by carnies.
Oh.
One screwed over.
Okay.
I said
sure.
over.
Yeah.
One was the ladder climb. You ever seen this one?
Jacob's ladder?
No, it's not Jacob's ladder. It's an actual, like a rope ladder, and you have to try to climb to the top of it without it flipping over or you like falling off.
Yeah, it's Jacob's ladder.
Yeah, and I got to the very top. I was at the last rung, and then suddenly it felt like I just sort of like went whoop, and fell off. And my friends were like, the carny hit it. and knocked you off.
Oh.
And I got in this big screaming match with this carny, and I was like 12. Which is, by the way, if that's not the most Fresno thing I could have possibly said. Big screaming match with a carny while I was 12. I think the next year I did the one where you have to you have to throw the baseball and you're just supposed to be breaking the glasses. Mm-hmm. And I got the first two, and then the third one, I broke it. I looked over, and the carny was flirting with a girl, and then said, "No, you didn't break that one." I was like, "Didn't you hear? Well, you weren't paying attention."
Well, wasn't it broken?
And he's like, "Well, no, you hit one that was already broken."
Oh man!
I was like, "No, get out of here."
Oh.
But I just general. It's funny having kids now.
Yeah.
It's like before when you were a kid and you played that. Because I didn't want stuffed animals. I love the
Dukes of Hazzard mirror.
The mirrors were the best thing growing up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you really played it just to be able to say, "Hey, I won this thing because I'm good at this."
Yeah.
Now it's like my kids are disappointed if I don't win them something.
Oh.
So I remember one year we went to the fair, and I just, for whatever reason, I won the basketball shot. I won a different basketball shot. I did my usual rollerball thing. This is when we just had Vivian, and she wound up with 5. She was the kid who had 5 different stuffed animals.
Yeah.
All
that's baller. That's great.
And this has been her expectation ever since. I've set this bar, and so now I have to try and do this every time. It's a burden, you guys. Don't. There's a little tip for you, Michael. Don't play the games too much. Don't win too much for your little one. He'll start expecting it. Be average.
Be a loser in front of your child.
Well, not a loser.
Nailed it.
Just be not as big of a winner as you could.
That's a very florid description. I feel like I experienced that with you. I could smell the kettle corn and.
Oh, kettle corn's so good.
Did your fair also have the other agrarian festival things like the livestock?
Oh, sure. I grew up in Fresno. Everyone did 4-H, and so there was everyone had their prize. You go and see my friend who had the prize pig. That kind of crap.
So this has been the Mount Rushmore of things of being a kid during the summer, and it has been a trip down memory lane. I think Michael's observation is pretty astute. It seems like your summers were about exercising freedoms.
Sure, absolutely.
And breaking free of your teachers, your parents, the daylight. And then, Michael, yours seemed to be about inviting the oppression of your peers, the torture, being held underwater, being brutalized by all your friends, but then the oppression of adulthood coming on, bringing in this yoke that we're all strapped to today and kind of wearing it for the first time, not really knowing at first that that's it. This is a step you took that you don't get to go back. Because if so, would you even take it, or would you? Oh, heavy sighs. Okay, so the things that really stood out for me, I think both of you got in sleeping in, and then definitely swimming was something that was just, I could see you experiencing that whole thing.
You could see the terror in his eyes.
The terror. The slip and slide sure was fun. And the last one, just because it had so much kind of, actually it's where we are now. It's the transition from our past to our present. Is the summer job that was so filled with melancholy it almost made me cry.
That's when you know that your days are numbered.
Your days are numbered.
That's when you know that summer doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Unless you're one of our friends that are like, school's out for summer. You're like a teacher, and you're like, so you just get 3 months off now?
Yeah.
As an adult? Do you still get paid for this? I don't know how this works. I don't know if I like this.
Michael, can we give Jeff a point for the Campfire Girl story somehow?
100%.
Please, can you, as official scorekeeper, can you just give him a point?
Thanks, guys.
Done.
Thanks, guys.
No, that was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I wanted a girlfriend, but I got a point. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
And he got some badges out of it, too. So, hey, good on you.
You're up to 5 points on the year, Jeff.
Pretty awesome.
You know. Well, you stopped
I stopped doing the thing,
You stopped doing the thing where you're just like,
The Borglum bag.
Oh, I'm going to do some research and actually contribute an idea to this.
That was going to be the bag, but I guess I did the bag. I didn't even do the bag. So this has been the Mount Rushmore of Kid as a Summer. Summer as a Kid. I, as always, am Jeff.
I'm Richard.
I'm Michael.